Hello, thank you for joining us. This is the Bitcoin Brew, where we bring you the topics that have been percolating all week long in crypto. I'm Amy, and this is my co-host, Becca. Please know we are not investment advisors, and this is for entertainment purposes only. We are affiliated with the Texas Blockchain Council, a trade association working to make Texas the jurisdiction of choice for blockchain technology and Bitcoin industry. Please take a few seconds and help us wake up the YouTube algorithm. That's right, go ahead, subscribe to this channel, and go ahead and push that like button. Becca, I'm getting all fumbly bumbly over here, so I'm glad you're leading off today.
Great. You totally did so good.
Thank you. What did you bring for us?
Okay, well, interesting enough, JP Chase, maybe you've heard of them. They're a huge investment bank. They announced a couple of days ago that they see Bitcoin's value at $38,000, which is really interesting because the last time I checked, it's trading at $29,000. So I think what they're trying to communicate is the fact that it is they are, bullish on the long-term case for Bitcoin, and they're all in. Even with the recent Terra Luna collapse, they said that it hardly touched their VC funding, and I think they're going to be, they're going to see Bitcoin through the traditional finance lens of just making money. But I think, obviously not so much the philosophical side, but I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised with their decision to stay locked in with Bitcoin. They also said that Bitcoin has surpassed real estate as a preferred alternative investment, which is absolutely incredible that it's hit that marker. And it's also kind of ironic and funny because their CEO, Jamie Dimon, has historically been quite critical of cryptocurrencies. So it's kind of fun to see him come around and realize that this is an asset class that he doesn't want to miss out on. And I think just banks in general, if they're not rapidly onboarding, they're going to be left in the dust very, very quickly. Speaking of banks, there are two banks that are part of the TBC, Vantage Bank and Third Coast Bank, and they are actively leading the charge on banking and crypto and custodying digital assets, and they are Texas chartered banks as well. So pretty interesting.
When I was looking at your show notes, I saw that JP Morgan has joined with Elliptic to sort of ease into the whole cryptocurrency market and have some protocols in line. And I'm wondering, the banks that aren't jumping in on this, are they going to be obsolete? What's going to happen to the banks that are resistant to bringing in crypto and Bitcoin on their balance sheets?
It's going to be very interesting to watch. I think they're going to lose customers right and left because the majority of the public is going to go towards banks that they feel comfortable, that banks who can custody digital assets. And that's a rapidly expanding asset class.
That makes sense. And another thing that you said is that Bitcoin is now surpassing real estate as an asset. That is fantastic news.
Mm-hmm. I think especially with the interest rates going up, and it's just making Bitcoin that much more appealing. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that.
Yes. All right. What do you have for us?
I brought to you today the economic well-being of U.S. households. It's a survey that was conducted by the Fed, and there were some interesting data points that came out of that. First one was that 78% of those surveyed claimed that they are financially comfortable. But most noteworthy is this is the first year that it had included any questions that revolved around cryptocurrency. And here's the breakdown on those. 12% of Americans claimed that they possess crypto. 11% hold it as an investment. 2% use it for transactions. And then 1% of people send it to relatives and family. The investors that are holding crypto were disproportionately high income, almost always had a traditional banking relationship, and traditionally had other retirement savings. Those that transact with crypto have a very different profile. 60% of this group have an income of less than $50,000, and a quarter of these individuals have no high school diploma. So what we're seeing is cryptocurrency is being used in all the ways of fiat, which I take as a positive signal. My question I want to ask you, though, is are you surprised by the differences in how it's being used in the banked versus the unbanked?
This is one of my favorite topics to talk about when it comes to Bitcoin, is how it is banking the unbanked. It's there's nothing prejudiced about Bitcoin. There's nothing that's in the way of investors and just being able to save, being able to create wealth and generate wealth. And so I'm not surprised. I think it's going to continue to grow. I think it will eventually even out down the road. But it is a very interesting dynamic that Bitcoin has.
It certainly is. And then when you bring in the lens of Texas, the TBC crowdsourced a survey, and it showed that 29% of Texans own or possess cryptocurrency. So we're far ahead of this kind of national average that they pulled out of the Fed survey.
I believe it too. And I would like to think that TBC has something to do with that. What do you think?
I sure hope so. I mean, we're talking about it. All the mining is coming here. So hopefully we just see that number grow and grow.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I hope so too. I mean, along those same lines, we're going to talk about the fact that Bitcoin's illiquid supply is at an all-time high, which basically what that means is out of the 19 million circulating Bitcoins, 12 million of them have not moved in over a year. So it's just pointing to the fact that people who own Bitcoin are understanding the importance of holding it and that it is a scarce asset. So along with that though, the wealthier you are, I mean, we just talked about this, the more likely you are to see Bitcoin as a store of value versus a currency. So this number does kind of point to big business buy-in, but it's not all bad because I think that really the hodlers are infiltrating big business, which in the long term is going to help. Oh, my stomach is growling. I wonder if we got that on camera. Okay, we're going to move on. Couldn't ignore that.
Somebody get this girl a cracker.
I think that Bitcoin, because it is a scarce asset, it is honest money. It's not run by a board. It doesn't have a CEO. We're just going to see people jump on board right and left the more that people are educated about it and familiar with it. And I think a huge part of that is the Lightning Network. And there's companies like Strike who is run by Jack Mallers, and they're partnering. They announced back in April that they're partnering with Shopify. Sorry, I was like, that totally threw me off. They are partnering with Shopify to bring the Lightning Network to retail, which is very exciting. I have friends that have small businesses and run it on Shopify. So to just further infiltrate the Bitcoin network into everyday life is going to be awesome to watch. And speaking of Lightning Network, the TBC just announced a couple of days ago that they're running a Lightning node now, which I didn't know, honestly. I had to read a lot about this. So we reached out to Steve Kennard, who is the director of Bitcoin mining operations and analytics from the TBC, just to tell us why we're running a node and why it's important, why it matters. And this is what he said. So he said the purpose of the Lightning nodes are to facilitate transactions by opening channels with other nodes. The Lightning Network is allowing people to transact Bitcoin with settlement taking place in a matter of seconds, whereas transactions on chain are validated every 10 minutes with the mining of a new block, so it's more cumbersome. The nodes are there to execute transactions with other nodes, but also to facilitate transactions for any person with a Lightning wallet, of which there are many free open source options, such as Moon or Strike, and there are several others out there.
I think it's exciting that we have this opportunity because there's been several people that have reached out asking about membership and they want to pay in cryptocurrency.
Ooh, yes.
And now with this Lightning node, it can happen a lot faster than we were able to do it previously.
Yeah.
So Steve Kennard is doing some really cool things with the Texas Blockchain Council, and this is just one example of his impact.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm excited to learn more about it.
Me too. Me too. I did want to say there was, the third halving.
Oh, yeah.
So what we saw with the third halving is that's when we kind of saw the script flipped and Bitcoin became more illiquid. Is that a true statement?
Okay, so I'm going to try to answer it the best that I can. I think that with each halving, you're going to see more buy-in, and the price is going to go up. So some people are going to sell. It'll be different, though, in 2024 when the next halving happens, just because the economy is so different, the war in Ukraine, there's so many outliers out there, and so it'll be interesting to watch.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you, Becca.
Yeah.
So today was supposed to be the day that Terra was going to launch their Terra 2.0. It was going to be a fork that was voted in by a majority of the community in an effort to revive Luna. Terraform Labs and founder Do Kwon shared plans to create a new Terra chain, so he dropped the plan to fork the Terra chain. The company claims the new Terra chain will be the most decentralized blockchain ever.
Ooh, that's a big claim.
I know, right? Under this proposal, the existing token holders of Terra Classic, the original blockchain, will be airdropped with newly minted Luna tokens. The Luna airdrop will happen on the first block of the new Terra chain. The test net is up now. However, the main net will not go live until hopefully tomorrow at 6 a.m. They're supposed to launch today. The reason for the delay is a bit ambiguous. It hasn't been disclosed, but we have some big exchanges that are on board with it, including Binance, Kraken, and FTX, that will all participate in the launch.
Okay. I think it's not surprising at all that the exchanges are all on board with this. They lost a ton of money when the collapse happened, and I just wonder, I mean, it's just so interesting to watch. Like, how are people buying back into this exact same coin? Although, I think that, is it no longer an algorithmic stablecoin?
I don't think they're changing that functionality of it, but
Okay.
they aren't going to peg it in the way that they previously did. Is how I understand it.
Maybe this one will work. Who knows?
We'll see. And they've been a topic in our conversations, it feels like, since the onset of our show.
Yes.
It's definitely been developing throughout the weeks.
Yes. Very interesting to watch.
Yes. And speaking of the coming weeks, we have some exciting things going on here at the TVC. We have a promotion that we'd like to share with you for the mining conference in College Station. It's happening June 15th and 16th. John Sostak has been so kind to discount prices for people, and you should see that there is a code at the bottom of our screen. It's TVC Friends 2022. Snag those now because the sale will wrap up as the holiday weekend ends. Other things going on in the area, I know for sure there's a Bitcoin happy hour networking at Bolden Acres.
Oh yes, on Tuesday, right?
That's on Tuesday, the
Right.
31st. We also have been talking about Consensus. Consensus is going down. We'll be there Thursday night at the Lustry Pearl. Come see us. And then also we have a banking Bitcoin lunch at Haynes and Boone.
Yes, on Friday? Is
On
that
Friday,
right?
yes,
Okay.
yes. So thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciate you logging in, tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
One last thing, if you have Instagram, we have a new Bitcoin Brew Instagram. It's the.bitcoin.brew. If you want to like us, give us a follow.
Thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.